Hello everyone, this is Greyshot17 reviewing Cats. This movie is very weird. I went to go see it with a few friends, one of which have seen the play and let me know all the differences about this movie with the play, and I was surprised because I thought in this movie they spent no time trying to make it more suitable for like a movie crowd, because that's my interpretation of this movie because it has no story. But no, they actually tried to insert a story, but it failed miserably. Okay, so this movie is getting bashed online quite a bit, and I will say it's 90% deserved. It's really bad in terms of the models and character design and overall effects, because the effects for the individual characters, let's say for the cats, are just really... they're not consistent. For the models themselves, it's a mixture between a human and then a cat fur with a cat-like features, but it's not fully featured. Like, they still have human hands, they still have human feet, they still have human head, mostly. Like, the overall design is essentially someone, like, cut out someone's head and placed it on a cat's body with the cat ears. And, again, the effects can look from great to terrible. There's a lot of shots, especially background shots, they don't look good. There's a lot of shots in which the cats themselves... you can tell where the cat layer starts and the human face starts. It's like, and they kind of like go in place. It's weird. It kind of reminds me of like the Thing effects from when they kind of just put someone's face on the Thing creature, that, or like from the 2011 version. That's what it kind of reminds me of, like that cheap bad effect. There are other creatures that have it worse, honestly, in this movie. I don't want to go into spoilers, but when you do see them, whether they are really bad, and it's just you have this CGI creature, and then you have the cat CGI person, and it just, they try to go within each other, and it looks horrifying. It absolutely looks horrifying for this movie. McCavity is supposedly this big antagonist in the movie, or at least that's how they set it up, and apparently in the play that's not the case. But yeah, this whole world doesn't really make sense. And again, it's like either go fantasy or go realistic. Don't go this half blend, because they're half blended realistic cats in a world that is supposed to be realistic as to our world, but like different instruments are different sizes. Like you have, let's say, utensils, different sizes, shoes, jewelry, they're different sizes. Even like cockroaches, or like I guess I spoiled that, but yeah, that's horrifying. I don't think you really should go see this movie, so I don't care. Yeah, the cockroaches look horrifying. The humans, cat hybrid things look horrifying in a lot of instances. They try to make it like, they try to make them look like with the fur and everything. That's fine, but once again, the faces not so much. Also, the backgrounds are all like, again, it's weird. They're all like this green screen blend. It just, a lot of the sets look really fake, and they look small. That's the biggest thing I have about this movie, is it's a musical, but once again, it feels small and claustrophobic. It doesn't ever feel big. It doesn't ever feel like something grand. And again, if you want to tell a smaller story, fine, but with a lot of the things you throw at it, like, again, the whole plot is the search for a cat to be sent off to... I'm assuming they're sending him off to a better place for a new life. That's what this whole thing, they have to do it on this night. The problem is they do this half effort. There's magic in this movie, but how they do this new life is something that it's not magical at all. Like, I was honestly scratching my head like, really, that's it? That's the ending? That's the big, like, again, not to say anything, but it feels like the main antagonist could simply, literally he teleport, get where he needs to go for this ending, and then get back. It's just, it's so convoluted and dumb. And every single song, I don't know why, at least in the theater, this could be just a theater setup, although Alamo Drafthouse is fantastic. By the way, I saw this in a full theater. There were people that left. There was a small child that was escorted with her father out of the movie theater after 15 minutes. That's around the cockroach scene, so that could be why. These people and things are horrifying, so I can absolutely see these things scaring people. And to be fair, everyone's giving it their all for actor-wise, except for probably Ian McKellen, who seems like the person who knows what's going on. In every single song, to get back to that, is a song introducing a cat. And my problem with that is that's fine if they're going to have more impact in the story, but if every song is introducing a cat and then the cats then leave, they don't have an impact in the story. It's like, why are you introducing this character if they're not gonna have a major part? And sure, they could play for a scene, but the scene doesn't lead to anything major. It just falters. And like I said, that it just when the music is not sufficing it, then you really start paying attention to the story, the characters, which there is no real character development. There's no real major change. Like, sure, you have this character that goes up and then becomes that becomes a change, but I don't know. It's like they don't give a reason why said character is treated like they are and stuff like that. It's like I said, if the music's not cutting it, the effects, the cinematography then have to take up work, which they don't. It looks bad. The cinematography it gets too close. I want more grand. Like, again, I want it when you're trying to impress the audience, then you have to do something elaborate, unique. And when the effects aren't cutting it, then yeah, it looks gonna look bad. And again, when you can't even focus on the human characters, or I guess the cat characters, because they're just so horrifying in a lot of instances, it just really doesn't help for this. It really doesn't. And again, for a film, I just didn't know how this can get made. Like, I don't know how this gets a feature film with $100+ million budget when literally there's not much of a story, there's not much of a character, there's horrifying instances. Like, for example, Idris Elba's in this film as the main protagonist, and literally he has clothes on, and then he takes his clothes off and does this musical number. But the entire time I'm thinking Idris Elba is currently dancing naked with Taylor Swift, and that's also a problem. The cats have like essentially like a six-pack and everything else, but they're still they still have human anatomy, but then some parts are not, and in other parts it's like they just don't have any parts, which is like, again, it's like either have cats with clothes on or don't have the cats with clothes on. Having this weird mix of cats with clothes and without clothes with human anatomy parts, and again, you're expecting Idris Elba and a few other cats to have certain things there, and they're not. Thank God, because that would be even more horrifying. But it's just, yeah, it's very weird. It's very, very weird, and I don't know why they chose this. I really don't. It's just very horrifying, his best way. And I'm fine with usually, like, pushing the boundaries of, like, CGI. Like, again, Polar Express is another one where people had issues with that type of too realistic CGI with animation, and I was fine with that movie. It didn't really do that. This actually hurt my eyes. By the end of the movie, and I know that's a quote from a review. I'm not trying to make this up, and I'm being honest. Usually, my eyes were hurting from the blend. Usually in a film, I don't have that issue, but in this film, I did. This is the only film in which the CGI actually hurt my eyes, or maybe at least strained my eyes, I would say. And I've never had that happen in a movie before, where my eyes were actually hurting at the end of a film. I think it's just the blending. I think it's just trying to get used to the blending. And in some movies, it works. Alita Battle Angel works. Because they do it well. It makes sense in the story. In this, your eyes, or at least your brain, can't figure out, is this supposed to be fully animated? Is this supposed to be live action? What is this supposed to be? Is they fully featured cats? Are they not? Like, again, you can do a cat-human thing fine. I think of animation in terms of anime to 2D, 3D in actual, like, again, 3D fully featured movies. There are cats, let's say the cat from Toy Story, that looks really good. Or you do something that is a little bit later down the line of like a more of a 3D like fully featured cat. That can work. That can be okay. I'm thinking of like Bolts or something like that, where it's like a fully 3D animated cat. And even cat like hybrid, like in 2D animation, like cats don't dance. Like you can do cats that have humanoid appearances and like gestures and techniques. That's fine, even dancing. But in this, it's this weird half effort that just doesn't work. It just doesn't. And it's just really hard to watch. And there's no story. There's very low character development. There's just a lot of good songs, so I'll give it that. But everything else falls apart. The set design is not very good. There's a lot of green screen, which you obviously like. And again, and I feel like the effects aren't there yet. It's just not. Some look fine, but like when you get close up, oh boy, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't. And when I asked my friend who watched Cats, which is better, they said Cats the musical, because it's longer. There's more songs, and and they don't throw stuff in. Like, apparently, in the Cats play, because of the fact that there's more songs and everything, it's a lot better. When they try to do this introduction to a world by changing the main character and how that goes, it leaves more questions than answers. Like, they tried to put in more plot, but it's a half effort, so you are left more questions in the play, because again, it's a bunch of characters in a single setting. It looks a lot better, and I feel like that's the main thing about this movie is it tries to go for this big grand scale, and because the effects don't quite match, because the story isn't there, the characters aren't there, and this weird uncanny valley effect is just really, really bad. This is on it, like, I would only recommend this movie if you go in there to get drunk. Like, I'm being honest. Don't see this movie with a small child, because it'll probably scare her or him. Don't see this movie with a group unless you're actually baked or drunk. Like, honestly. I can see where a lot of passion went into this movie, like in terms of making it, but just every single step is a misfire. And that's kind of an accomplishment of itself. It's just weird. There's a lot of attention to detail and not a lot of attention to detail. Like, again, the cats, some of them have shoes on. All right, okay, they have shoes. And then some of them have, like, custom, like, smaller scale, like, rags and stuff like that off human part. It's like, you can see where some of them are making, like, are, like, brought from our world. And some of them are in their own fantasy world for having, like, clothing that matches their bodies. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Even, like, I just put a Santa suit, like a Santa suit on my cat. And that makes sense. It, like, for, like, the scale and how you'd put it on. But then other cats have these weird clothing, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I don't know what they were trying to go for this movie, and it fails. It's not unwatchable, but it's very, very close to. It's incredibly close to being unwatchable. I would say if you're a fan of Cats, maybe just listen to the soundtrack on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you can get it. And I'm sorry if this kind of went incoherent in my review, but so did Cats, because it made absolutely no sense and left me shell-shocked of being like, this is incoherent plot, character, like, and designs, effects, just everything, honestly, except for the music, which, again, the play apparently does better. So thank you to the people who wanted to see Cats, invited me. You left me with an interesting movie to talk about, and hopefully you guys found some entertainment in my review, because oh god, like I don't see the movie unless you know what you're going in for. This has been Greyshot17, and next week expect our top movies of the year. Well then, until then, see you guys next time. Hello everyone, before you guys go, I want to give a special shout out to Patreon supporters Milam, Joey G240, Streakingwookie, Spartycus, Rilfe, Pyroshark, Ollie, JrChicklis, Ion, Ace, Ranger 412, Jakub, Ocwieja, and GTA. Thank you all for your amazing support, and thanks again to the patrons as well down below. It's been Greyshot17, and I'll see all of you next time.